Hey everybody, this is part 2 in how to brand your business, and I'm going to go through a little bit of show and tell and explain some of the options that you might be getting for your logos. And let me know if you have any questions, and if it's helpful, please comment. If it's not, I'll talk a little bit more if you need. So hope you enjoy it. Alright guys, I am going to go over this with you. I'm in Adobe Illustrator right now, and I'm going to use my shop as an example. So this is my shop name currently, Luna Solare. I do not have a logo. This is just a script that I wrote in the program, and I pretty much use it for my shop. Now this is not a logo, even though it's done in Illustrator, it's not. It's just something that I put together. What I should have done was actually create a logo. So I'm going to show you a couple of things here. Now for this particular example, I decided to use two eyes. Since the name is Luna Solare, I'm going to use the moon right here and the sun in the eye. This is an image that I actually put together, and I created this in Photoshop. So if you look closely, this is a GIF, so a JPEG. There's pixels here. So I could never use this in a logo. If I wanted to keep this as a logo, I would never be able to use this particular image and use it as a logo, because if I were to increase the size of this, say I decide to put this on my create a huge poster or a banner, the image would never work and I could never play around with it in a logo. So this is an example of a JPEG that would be really cool to create, but it's a photographic image. Below it is a vector image. This was done in Illustrator, and you can see when I click over it that there's shapes that are built. All these shapes can be changed. They can be changed in color, they can be played around with, and I can do whatever I want with this. I can put it over a background and it would be nice and crisp. So if I put it over that image, it would come out, it would be nicely delimited. So what I want to do, I'm dead set. Now if you were going to create a logo, I would advise going this way, because this, you can't go wrong with a vector image. It's not as organic, but it is what is good to use for designing your logo. Below it is what you would do if you decided to go with, say, a watercolor image or a photo and incorporate it in your logo. Now what I did was I took the one up here and I converted it to paths, meaning I converted it to this. This is one path. This is like one big blob of image. In order for it to create an eye that can be used in a logo, I actually had to go and have this image traced in Illustrator and create all these little paths. These are all little colors to make up that image. This I can use in a logo now, because now it's actually translating it into Illustrator. So if I bring this over, you can see that it's created shapes around it. So now I can play around with this and make a logo out of it. This is going to be a huge logo, because if I use this eye, all these little paths and all this color is going to create a very big file. So this is just so you understand the difference between a vector image and an image created in Illustrator, which is this one, and an image that is actually created in Photoshop. It's a photo, and you really can't use it in a logo unless you transform it. So if you go to your designer and say, I would love a picture of a tree, but I want it to be painted, well, this is what you would do. You would have to paint it and then convert it to a file, to an Illustrator file, and then incorporate it in a logo. Now the next step, say I'm using this as my symbol for the name that I have. Because like I said, this was the name I had, but it's not, a logo. So now I'm going to transform it into a logo. I already have my symbol. I'm going to use those two eyes. And next step is to actually incorporate it in a logo. So what I did was I decided to change it to make an irregular font. So this is a font that I used. And because I did that, I can actually scale this, I can make it, it's more legible. And I mentioned before about choosing your colors and understanding what each color means in your logo. Well, I have a primary color, a secondary color, and a third color. I'm using the primary red because that's the first thing that I see in a logo. The second would be the black, but I'm also having the orange because I want to focus on that. That will be inside the sun. Now the three colors that I chose, they all have a meaning. So for instance, red is fire and blood, associated with energy, war, strength, power, determination. Orange combines the energy of red and yellow, and happiness, denotes from it, associated with joy, sunshine, and other topics, and the tropics, sorry. Black, associated with power, elegance, formality, and mystery. So I chose these colors to go with my brand name. Now, the way it's looking here, it's kind of, it's up in the air here. If I were to put this in anything, it would be very tough to keep it like that. So what I need to do is create a logo lockup for it to make it look better. And if I want to incorporate a tagline, then I can. So what I did was I created a different logo lockup. So once I did this, now this would open up to the idea that I can actually incorporate some type. So I can write anything I want, like, let's see. I'm going to decide I'm going to put this as my type, my logo lockup, and I'm going to give it a font. And let's see what font it would look good in. So you can see that there's lots of fonts out there that would work and would not work with a logo. I'm just going to pick one just so we can see how it would look with a tag. Tricky. I'll pick that one. So I'm going to bring this in here. I'm going to lock it in. Right now I have a logo lockup. I have a tag, I have my logo, I have my eyes in here. Now, say you decide this is your final logo, and now you have to get ready for the printer. Well, your art director is going to have to give you a bunch of files. They're going to need to give you a CMYK version of the file, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And then they're going to have to give you if you want it, you don't have to. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, plus one PMS color. PMS colors are, like I mentioned, the colors that any printer can use anywhere in the world, and they're all the same color. Now, this is more expensive than this because of this color. But they should look the same. There's when you look on it on screen, it looks the same, but when you print it, this version is a little bit darker than with a pure PMS color. Then your designer should give you a grayscale version of the logo. This you can use if you're printing black and white images, black and white brochures, if you're doing labels that you don't want to incorporate color in, and if you're printing everything outside of your home, then you would need this. So for instance, if you decide to put this particular image, you don't want color, but you want to have it on a window, and you want to have like a decal, right? You can have a black and white decal. This is the logo you would need. These are all for printers, professional printers. If you're using a home printer, then you could take the CMYK version of it, the color version of it, and just hit black and white printing, and it would give you this effect. This, I'm showing you that this is something that can be used if you're printing on all black. People use it in logo design because they can incorporate it in black and white books or whatever, like when you're printing it, if you're putting it at the back of your book, if you are doing any type of clothing, t-shirts and all that, you can do this. It's not very expensive. However, because I used a photo image that I then converted, it's not going to look as great, say, if I were to use the first one that I showed you. So if I use this eye right here, this eye right here would have worked much better in a black and white version, because I can actually go in and manually change all this. I can make this white, I can make this, and this will have to be, actually, hold on. This would have to be like a stroke outline and not an actual gradient. So this would be removed. So you can do a lot of work to make it look like a professional knocked out logo. Because what happens is you will then transfer that, and it would look more like a cool logo versus a little blob right there that I have. So let's see if this will make any sense. Let me grab this. Oops. Group. I'll remove these eyes. Let's make this a little smaller, just so you can get an idea on what it would look like if it was an actual knocked out logo. Alright, so I can actually go in and play around with the lines so it'll look more like that. So I can do a knocked out logo on it. Does it, you could play with the width of the brush stroke and all that. But this is what you would need to give your printer if you were going to do it this way. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you understand how to create a logo if you ever need it. Obviously, this is all done in a graphic design program. Oh, the last thing I did want to talk about is the incorporation of the colors, right? The colors that you saw in here, the 3 colors, how you could bring them through if, say, you were going to do a flush them out in a campaign. So you could use them for little headers, like if you're doing your business card or whatever. You could do like little design elements like I did at the top here, and I utilized the 3 colors that I had. So this is just like flowing in your colors into different things. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover, and hope you enjoyed it. Take care.